All right, hi there. It's Miss Manning, and today we are going to go through lab safety. So if you want to take out the note sheet that I handed out to you in class, and then you can take notes as you go through this video. And if you need to, just pause the video where necessary. Okay, so here we go. So in class today, we read over the science safety practices and procedures, and you signed it. So now would also be a good opportunity to have your parent or guardian sign it as well. So if you want to hit pause on the video and take that sheet down for someone to sign, that would be great. If not, hopefully you can get that done later this evening. So if you take a look at this lab, hopefully this is never what our classroom is going to look like, but if you take a look, there's probably a number of safety issues that you probably notice. So if we take a look, people aren't wearing goggles. This guy's just, taking a big inhale of whatever is in that test tube. Right? People haven't put their bags away, so this young lady is now tripping over it. And I'm not sure. I hope this is not somebody putting a fork in the outlet. It could be that he's just not pulling the cord out properly. These guys are having some sort of fight with the chemicals in the test tubes. And again, this is not anything we're ever going to see in our classroom. And, here someone's having a, breakfast sandwich perhaps in the lab. And this guy over here is looking directly into a test tube that he's heating up. So there's like at least 40 other things that are wrong with this lab. But again, this is definitely not what we want our classroom to look like. Now, taking a look at this lab, why don't you press pause on the video and list 10 things that you see wrong in this classroom. All right, so just hit pause, look for 10 things. Alrighty, so looking at workplace safety. If you have a job, then hopefully you have had some WHMIS training. And if you don't have a job yet, then whenever you do get one, your employer should provide you with WHMIS training. So WHMIS stands for Workplace Hazardous Materials Information System. So you can fill that in on your note sheet. Whenever you are working with chemicals, then your employer should have a binder that has all the safety data sheets for each chemical that you're going to use. At Bramalea, we have one of these in our science prep room, so we have access to the safety information for all the chemicals that we are going to use. So an SDS sheet stands for Safety Data Sheet, and it provides information on hazards and safety precautions of a chemical. So depending on what chemicals you're working with, a spill is not as simple as just mopping it up. Sometimes if it's an acid, you might have to neutralize it with a base first, and then there are specific cleaners that you may have to use to tidy up an area. It would also contain any first aid information as well. So now we're going to go through the chart of all the different WHMIS symbols. So this symbol name is flame, and the risk means that the product has a fire hazard. So you definitely want to be careful not to use these around heat sources and open flames or sparks. This one looks similar, except for there seems to be a letter O with its top half of it there on fire. So the symbol name is flame over circle. And the risk means it's an oxidizing hazard. So it may cause other substances around it to catch on fire and react. This one looks like, the tank from when you go scuba diving. So this is the gas cylinder. And when you see this symbol, it means that the gases in that container are under pressure. So you definitely do not want to drop or puncture those containers. This symbol is for corrosion. So the risk means that those corrosive materials will cause damage to metals. And if it can eat through metal, it can probably also damage your skin and eyes. So in any lab that we do, if we are using any corrosive materials, such as hydrochloric acid, this will be noted on your lab safety sheet. Here we have exploding bomb. So this is for a risk of explosion or reactivity hazards, so you definitely would want to handle those materials with care. This is not for pirates. This is skull and crossbones, and it means that it can cause death or toxicity with short exposure to small amounts. So you definitely do not want to ingest anything that has this symbol on it. If it gets on your skin, you need to wash it off quickly. And some of the chemicals that we do use in science class are poisonous, so you want to make sure that we are not eating or drinking in the science lab because we never know if the surfaces are contaminated. This one here is a health hazard, and the risks mean there may be a cause or suspected of causing serious health effects. So you definitely want to stay safe while using those. This exclamation mark means it can cause less serious health effects, so probably with a more prolonged exposure, or it can also cause damage to the ozone layer. This one, you have a picture basically of a dead tree and seemingly a dead fish. So the symbol name here is environment, and this will be on products that may cause damage to the aquatic environment. All right, so you want to be careful how you are disposing of those products, and typically not going to be things that we are just going to put down the drain. Probably have seen this before. This is a symbol for biohazard, and this risk tells us that there are organisms or toxins that can cause disease in humans or animals. So you may have seen these on containers in your doctor's office. So after they do any swab or the gloves that they throw out, usually go into a biohazard container. If you're diabetic and you have needles that you're disposing, then it would also have this biohazard symbol on the container for sharps. So all those previous symbols we would find on products that you are using in your workplace, but obviously we also use chemical products in our home. So the household safety symbols are going to be on products that we as consumers would purchase, and all manufacturers of consumer products are required to include a symbol that specifies the nature and the degree of any hazard their product may pose. So these are the hazardous household product symbols, HHPS, and each of these symbols are made up of a picture and a frame, and both the picture and the frame are providing us with different types of information. So the picture will tell you the type of danger. So for example, if it's flammable or if it's poisonous. And the frame around it, you may have seen these as triangles or diamonds or hexagons. This will tell you whether it's the contents or the container that poses the hazard. So the 4 HHPS symbols we have explosive, flammable, corrosive, and poisonous. You've probably seen these on household cleaners, things that you may have in your garage, so motor oil or windshield wiper fluid. These would have these symbols on it as well. So the frames around the outside, right? So here, this frame is telling us that the product is a hazard. So if that symbol has a octagon rather around it, then it is the product inside that is a hazard. And if the symbol has an upside down triangle, then it's showing us that the container is the hazard. So for tomorrow's homework check, you are going to bring in with you the completed WHMIS and HHPS note sheet. So that's what you filled in as you watch this video. And I would also like you to take 3 pictures of any 3 products that you have at home that contain those HHPS symbols. So if you have a device, you can take a picture of those symbols as well as the first aid and safety information that you'll see on each of those products. And then lastly, don't forget for that lab safety picture, I ask you to write out 10 things that are wrong with that lab, and I'll check that tomorrow as well. All right, so have a great night.